after his death, he is rediscovered for the, for the uniqueness of his Spanish output. But in Italy, he never received, as far as we know, he never received a commission. He wasn't, even though he tried to, for example, curry favor of the court of Cardinal Alessandro Farnese in Rome, he never really was successful in doing that. So he never really had the kind of stature in Italy that he did have in Spain. And so when he was sort of forgotten and then rediscovered again, it's mostly for his Spanish work. And I would argue we're still undergoing a little bit of a lag, I think, in sort of how we're dealing now with this earlier period. Because there's a problem also just of, the lack of documentation. Professor Marias had mentioned that we have 500 or some documents now pertaining to El Greco's life and career, but there's a disproportionately small number of those that date from his Cretan and Italian period. That's just the circumstances of him being a pretty minor artist. Now, from my point of view, that sense of him being a minor artist was an advantage in some respects, because it allows you to sort of look at the situation of painting in Venice and Rome through the eyes of someone who wasn't one of the great unique luminaries like Titian or Michelangelo, but someone who maybe was in a way more mainstream. Obviously, not everyone had the same biographical path as El Greco, but he maybe was more mainstream, and therefore what he painted is a little bit more reflective of the state of affairs. Just diverging a little bit from the original topic, but I think for these reasons, the kind of the lack of professional recognition that ultimately is probably why he went to Spain in the first place from Italy, but the lack of professional recognition in Italy means that we still have a lot to catch up on, I think, in terms of where El Greco is now, how he's appreciated, how we deal with the entire breadth of his career, and not just focusing on the strangeness or extravagance, or however you want to say it, of his period in Toledo.